most favorite blush of all time, ever, ever, ever. Only like main difference between the two. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I have a video that was requested by one of my subscribers. So if you have watched any amount of my videos, you know that I am a humongous fan of Tarte's Exposed blush. So that is part of their Amazonian Clay powder blush line, and I have just loved Exposed. The moment I bought it, I just became obsessed with it. I hit pan. I had to force myself to stop using it so I could use other blushes. Anyways, ever since I bought that, I've actually been on the hunt to find dupes for it. So I'll be honest, I really am not a huge drugstore blush fan. So I do have a few dupes for you, but they are all high-end. So I wouldn't necessarily call them dupes because they're not cheaper. In fact, I think some of them might be a little bit more expensive. But they are replacements for Exposed if you are like me and you are constantly on the hunt for a different version of that same blush that you are absolutely obsessed with. So thank you so much to that subscriber who requested this video, and I'll go ahead and get started. Alright, so just to get started on the right foot, this is the Tarte's Exposed blush. So this is their Amazonian Clay 12-hour blush in the color Exposed. The packaging is this brownish color, but the blush itself is like this mauve-y kind of brownish pinkish color. And when you swatch it, it's not super duper pigmented, but it just comes off on your cheeks so incredibly pretty. So this is what that blush looks like up close, and again, on your cheeks it is just so pretty. It's not too pinky, it's not peachy, it's just this beautiful like dusty mauve color, and it is so incredibly flattering on literally everybody. Everybody who I've seen wear this blush absolutely adores it. So that is what it looks like up close. And one of the best parts about this blush is it lasts all day long. So these are called the 12-hour blushes, and they literally last 12 hours. I used to work 10-hour shifts, and then you put your lunch in there and your travel time to and back, and I would be gone for about 12 hours, and I would come back from work and this thing would still be on my cheeks just like it had never budged at all. So great blush. It is probably my most favorite blush of all time, ever, ever, ever. Alright, so the first one that I found, I have actually already talked about in one of my other videos. This is the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Mood Exposure. This one has the word exposed in it, ironically enough, but it is still that kind of mauve brown color. So I'll actually go ahead and link my video review of these blushes in the description box down below, because I love the ambient lighting blushes. This one is probably my second favorite out of the 4 that I have, but this one has the ambient lighting powder mixed in with the blush itself. Okay, so there's Hourglass's Mood Exposure, and then that's Tarte's Exposed. So you can see how similar they actually are. Mood Exposure is definitely more pigmented. This was one swipe of just powder. This one is 2 swipes of Tarte's Exposed. This one is a little bit more on the kind of brownish side. This one's a little bit more pinky, but they look very similar on the cheeks. Okay, so the next one I have actually was a recommendation from one of my Sephora girls at the Sephora store. I had told her I was obsessed with Tarte's Exposed, but I wanted to find something that was kind of similar but not exact. And she recommended this Makeup Forever HD High Definition Blush. This is a cream blush, so I'm not a huge cream blush fan, but this one is in the color 220, and it looks like this. So again, this is that cream formula, but the color is actually very similar to Tarte's Exposed. Okay, so there's the Makeup Forever cream blush right there. You could see if you compare it right to Tarte Exposed, they're so super similar. It is the cream formula, so if you like cream formulas, then this would be great for you. But you can see how similar they are in color. They both have that dusty mauve undertone to them. All right, so the next one, I actually have two, and I'm on the fence about these. I wasn't sure which one was the most similar to Tarte Exposed. These are both Benefit blushes. So this is Benefit's Dallas and this is Benefit's Rockateur. So Benefit's Dallas is a recent purchase for me. It's actually a blush slash bronzer, so it's very brown. This one, after I swatched the two next to each other, they really were not the same. But I wanted to include it because I know in a previous video I had mentioned that they were similar. So I wanted to show you the difference between the two. So that's Tarte Exposed down here, and then that's Benefit's Dallas. So, I mean, they are slightly similar if you look at them. This one is definitely more brown, though. It definitely has a more bronzy brown color to it, but it works well as a blush, and it gives the same effect as Tarte Exposed, but they are not in the same color family at all. All right, and then the next one is Benefit's Rockateur, so it's another one of their boxed blushes. This one, I wasn't going to include it in this video, but it actually is more similar to Exposed than Dallas is. So this one, I'll swatch it next to Dallas so you can see the difference. This one definitely has a sheen to it, whereas Tarte Exposed is totally matte. Mood Exposure, of course, has that ambient lighting glow in it. The Makeup Forever one is totally matte. Dallas is totally matte. But Rockateur definitely has a sheen to it. So that's the only main difference between the two. Okay, so there's Rockateur right there. So you can see Tarte Exposed definitely has more pink to it, and Rockateur is kind of more of almost like a peachy color. But again, it gives the same overall effect as Tarte Exposed, but it has kind of like a shimmery sheen to it. So it's not my favorite Benefit blush at all. I actually don't wear it very much, but because of that kind of sparkly sheen to it, but it is slightly similar to Tarte Exposed, so I wanted to make sure to include it. So the next one is another recent purchase. This is a Nars blush, and this is in the color Douceur, I believe. This is only available online, at least in Arizona. It's only available online. I was not able to find it in stores anywhere. But this, you can look at it here, this one is probably the most similar to Exposed. It's probably a tie between Mood Exposure, but here's what that one looks like. This one has a really great formula. It feels really good. So I'm going to swatch that right next to Exposed, right on the other side of Exposed, so that way you can see how similar they actually are. Okay, so here is Tarte Exposed and here is Nars Douceur. You can see they have very similar finishes and they're very similar textures. It's actually probably more similar to Benefit's Dallas, which is right here, now that I kind of am comparing them all in a lineup like this. However, when you shear this one out a little bit, it looks so similar to Exposed, you can't even tell the difference between the two. So here's what they look like together, and then here's Dallas there. Alright, so the last dupe that I have is this Bobbi Brown blush. This is my only Bobbi Brown blush, and I need to go get more of them. They have the creamiest feeling to them. They almost feel like a cream blush, but they're definitely a powder. They're just so soft and so creamy feeling. But anyways, this is the color Desert Rose number 15. And this one is more of like a dusty mauve rose color, but it is still very similar to Tarte Exposed. So I'm going to swatch that for ya. Okay, so there's Bobbi Brown's Desert Rose, there's Tarte Exposed. So you can see they look so similar after you swatch them. You probably could not even tell the difference between the two if I hadn't told you. So there's what the two look like right there. They have the same type of texture feeling, like they're that creamy kind of powdery finish. And the Bobbi Brown one also lasts a very long time. It's probably the longest lasting compared to the Tarte Expose. Okay, so here is what all of the blushes look like lined up together. I'm going to go ahead and go through them all for you. I'll put myself to the test to see if I could remember the names of all of them. So this one is the Bobbi Brown Desert Rose. This one is the Nars Douceur. This one is Tarte Expose, so this one is the star of the show, the one that we're comparing them all to. This one is Hourglass Mood Exposure. This one is the Makeup Forever HD Cream Blush in the color 220. This one is Benefit's Dallas, and this one is Benefit's Rockateur. So now that I'm looking at them all lined up together, I definitely think that the Bobbi Brown one is probably the most similar when you look at them just up front. They have very similar textures, but the Nars Douceur has the same finish. So I don't know, it's really up to your liking. Alright guys, so there's all those swatches again, a little bit far away, a little bit farther away. I can definitely say Tarte Expose is not an easy blush to find a dupe for. It's one of a kind, and I'm glad it's one of a kind. It's my favorite, but if it ever is discontinued and they don't make it anymore, I will be so stinking sad, because you can tell I've gone through countless blushes trying to find a dupe for it, and I can't. So anyways, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you are a Tarte Exposed fanatic like I am, then maybe I gave you at least some ideas for some new blushes to try out there. If you have any suggestions for videos like this that you'd like to see in the future, let me know in the comment section down below. I have a ton of blushes, so if you're a blush fan like me, then maybe you'd like to see comparisons to a very popular blush out there. I don't know, just let me know in the comment section down below if you have any comments or suggestions or anything like that. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I will talk to you next time. Bye guys.